Hello and welcome to the castle. I am the Silver Knight, and today I'm going to be bringing you gameplay of the brand new Civilization 7. We are going to be playing on patch 1.0.1 because that is the patch available to the early access version. So if you are watching this on launch day and things look slightly different to you, that will be the reason. So today we are going to be starting off with none other than Benjamin Franklin. As an American, I feel it is my duty to play one of the two American leaders, and we will go ahead and start off with Benjamin Franklin as a founding father. And then if you guys are watching this on launch day, just know we will be doing a very large stream on both YouTube here and on Twitch at Silver Knight Gaming 09, where we will be playing Harriet Tubman in a live stream save. But for here, we're going to be starting with Benjamin Franklin. And we are going to be starting in the Antiquity era, and we're going to be trying to do a perfectly historical run through the civilizations that we choose. If you don't know, in Civilization 7, there is a new feature called civilization switching, which means in the Antiquity era, we will be one civilization. In the Exploration era, we will be a different civilization. And in the Modern era, we will finally be our final civilization. So we're going to be starting as Rome, as I feel that is the most historical start that we can go for, as Rome conquered all the way up into the Britannia area, which would later be turned into the Great British Empire, which would then later be turned into the United States Empire. So for the Antiquity era, we're going to go ahead and go with Rome. Then in the Exploration era, we will be going into the Norman civilization, as you can see right here. And then in the Modern era, there is no other choice but the Americas for Mr. Benjamin Franklin. Our goal here is going to be starting as Rome, where we're going to be taking Mr. Poor Richard and turning him into Benjamin Dalastax. So we're going to be playing not on deity for the first run here, as this is the first run through the game. We're going to go ahead and start on sovereign, which appears to be about equal to the Emperor difficulty in the previous game in Civilization 6. We will be doing standard speed. We'll go continent plus. We will go small map size. I have heard that the game can be very laggy in the later eras if we go with a larger size than this. So I want to start here to make sure that everything looks good for you guys. We're going to be going with standard age length. And we will be playing with disasters. I know some people may not enjoy them, but I feel like it'll be a good way to introduce ourselves to the game. So, sorry, not just disasters, but crisis is what I meant. We're going to be playing with crisis. We will also play with disasters, obviously, but we will be playing with crisis, which is something you can toggle on and off. So, let's go ahead and launch the game and get started. Okay, here we are loaded up, and this is our Roman founder unit. Wherever we choose to found our first city will be where we place these bad boys. But first, let's go ahead and go through some of the abilities that both Benjamin Franklin and Rome have. So, for Benjamin Franklin, for every production building in cities, they also earn a +1 science per age. So that means in obviously the Antiquity era, it's going to be +1 science in our production buildings. In the Exploration era, it's going to be +2 science, and so on and so forth. The other thing is we also get +50% production towards constructing production buildings. So obviously those pair very well with each other. And then +1 science per age from endeavors that we have started or supported. So that's very important because we can have 2 endeavors of the same type active at a time, which means if we support an endeavor that gets sent to us, or if we start an endeavor, both of those are going to be giving us a ton of science, and it can really help us snowball, especially in the early game where it appears that the AI really wants to start endeavors with you. All right, for the Roman Empire, the special abilities are we get +1 culture on districts in the capital and city centers in towns. So what this means is that if we get a district in our capital, right? That district can have two types of buildings in it. So for each district that we have, there's a +1 culture that goes with it. We also get +30 production towards constructing the Colosseum. So every single civ kind of gets a production bonus towards one of the wonders, and obviously the Colosseum is a very Roman wonder, which is why we get that production bonus to it. We get a special unit in the Legion, which is the second tier infantry unit, and it gets +2 combat strength for every tradition that is in our government. We also get a unique army commander, which gains 1 charge to create a new settlement for every 3 levels it has. So obviously pretty darn strong there. You can use an army basically to settle, which is pretty good if you ask me. The Forum is a unique quarter, so a Roman unique quarter created by constructing the Basilica and Temple of Jupiter in the same district. We get +1 culture and gold for every unique tradition in the government. And then the Basilica obviously gives us +4 gold and +1 influence adjacency for culture buildings and wonders. So obviously with pairing that with Benjamin Franklin, obviously we need the diplomatic influence currency in order to start our support endeavors, so the Basilica can be pretty strong there. The Temple of Jupiter is a happiness building, so it gets +3 happiness, and then also gets +1 culture adjacency for happiness buildings and wonders. Roman unique happiness building, and it's ageless. So both of these buildings are ageless, which means our Forum quarter will also basically ageless. So we're going to go ahead and look at this. If you look at the settler lens, the blue here is where you're going to have fresh water. Even though there is not a legend that tells you that, just know that the light blue here means that it's going to be fresh water tiles, which helps you grow your city. These ones right here is that there is no fresh water available. So it actually does tell you that when you go over it, but it's like, I don't understand why it can't tell you that somewhere over here, right? But anyways, the red means you cannot settle because you can't settle over resources, and you can't settle on navigable rivers or mountains or, ocean tiles or anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with where this is. It means that we're pretty close to the ocean because we have a navigable river. Just depends on which direction we need to go in. And it means that we're going to have freshwater tiles. Now, the one thing about this is that it isn't that great in terms of where we can get growth, right? Like, obviously, both of these tiles are relatively okay, but it's not going to be super impactful when it comes to where that growth is going, right? The closest resource is going to be up this way, so we could boost up here to get to this iron, which does give us good infantry combat strength, which obviously pairs with the legions very well. But yeah, we'll go ahead and settle in place in this game and just kind of see how it goes. So let's go ahead and hit found settlement. And Roma shall be formed, headed by the great Benjamin Franklin. This is what our city center looks like. The beautiful Roman buildings, the Roman architecture, and everything like that. I have a slight criticism because, it's like it's built over the river, but if you, look, it's not like there's any sort of river running through it. It's a little bit awkward how that looks, but, that's just being nitpicky. So we have an option to go with either scout or warrior first. Now, as Benjamin Franklin, the inventor of the great bifocal, I feel it is only right to go with the scout first, as those bifocals he'll be able to will give them a great way to find what they're looking for. And America, very well known for asking questions first and shooting later, right? So after we get our settlement, after one turn, we automatically unlock agriculture, which gives us the ability to build the granary building and start our first district. And it also gives us +1 food on farms. And as you can see, that automatically makes this a pretty good place to put our first growth because it'll help us grow and it gives us happiness, which is always good. Other than that, we'll go to our technology tree where we will start. Sailing is an okay start just for where we are, but the growth potential is not nearly as strong as pottery and animal husbandry. So I'm going to go ahead and start with pottery. The other reason is obviously we can get that +1 production on the mines and everything like that, which will be good for when we get up to this iron. All right, and then we will choose a production. I'm going to go with a second scout. I think the 2 scout start is still relatively strong in this game. Now, the scouts have new and fun abilities. So as you can see, it has 2 movement costs, right? So if we take 1 movement to move into this square, we still have 1 movement to go. And with that 1 movement, we can choose to hit the search, which increases our sight range by 1 from what it currently is. So it basically will reveal a lot of this so long as the vision isn't blocked by forest per se. And twice that range, so twice of 3, so 6, it will reveal any discoveries, which are basically like the goody huts that we've had or the tribal villages in previous civilization games. So very, very strong ability. Always want to try to get this as quickly as possible. So as you can see, we actually revealed a couple of different ones. We have a luxurious encampment right here. We have a tent camp right here. And then we have a wreckage right here. My thought is we're going to come up towards these 2 first, and with this scout, we'll come and grab the luxurious encamp. Okay, and we've come to the ability to grow this city for the first time. So my thought is we're going to build a farm right here, so that way it will do a culture bomb and allow us to have our borders out to here, which will then on the next turn allow us, or not next turn, but next growth of the city, to be able to pick up this iron, which will be very, very important. So we're going to go with that. It'll also help with the growth of the city. As you can see, now we are 4 turns away from the next growth, which we will be able to put onto this iron. I also didn't even realize there's also a cairn right here that I revealed that I did not see last turn. So this will actually be what we go towards first. So I'm going to go ahead and move into this tile. So that way we are 1 turn away from picking up this cairn. And then hopefully we can get to these 2 as well quick enough before anyone else is able to nab it. So let's go ahead and pick up this cairn and see what it'll give us. It gives us the option between plus 45 culture or plus 75 gold. Now, 75 gold, pretty good, but in my opinion, getting our culture early game, if we open up the tree, to be able to get mysticism is going to be so incredibly strong. The reason is we want to be able to unlock our pantheon so we can hopefully get the pantheon that we want to pair with Benjamin Franklin. So let's go ahead and grab the culture. Perfect. So we have now unlocked chiefdom, which allows us to install our first policy. So we can either go with +2 culture on the palace, or we can go with +1 production and science on the palace. So like I said, I really want to focus culture down early game to try to get that pantheon. So we will go with charismatic leader first, which honestly, if you're talking about Benjamin Franklin, guy has a max charisma stat. So it definitely works in roleplay as well. Now, we're going to go ahead and pick up this iron so we immediately get our infantry combat boost, and it continues to grow our young nation. We will also choose a brand new civic. Like I said, we're going to go with mysticism here. Try to get that pantheon as soon as possible. And then we're going to choose a government. So with the government, basically what this means is every time we go here, we go to overview, every time we hit a celebration, we get to choose between one of the 2 options in our government, and that choice will last for 10 turns. So choosing the government doesn't give us the bonus that it says, right? So if I choose, say, Classical Republic, it doesn't actually give me +20 culture for 10 turns. What it means is that when I get a celebration, I can then choose to get +20 culture for 10 turns. And that works for all 3 of them, right? So with Benjamin Franklin's ability, I am going to go ahead and pick oligarchy. And the reason for that is that I can get this +30% production towards constructing buildings for 10 turns, and that can stack on his already +50% discount on production buildings as well. So very, very strong for Benjamin Franklin here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, we have to move this unit. We're going to pick up the tent camp here on this turn. Let's go ahead and do that. And as you can see, we can get +45 influence, or we can get +20 food and +10 production in Rome. So right away, influence for Benjamin Franklin super important. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up influence because we want as much of that as possible. Okay, so now we've come to the point where we've gotten both of our scouts. So the next thing I want to do is build a warrior so we can have a little bit of defense. The biggest thing about this game that is very different from previous Civilization games is you always want to have a standing army. And the reason for that is because the units are much more expendable because the army commanders are what are really important. So having a big army ready to go once we get our army commander will be very, very important. So with this second scout, we're going to go ahead and move down towards this luxurious encampment. Let's go ahead and pick up this wreckage. And what we can do is we can get a warrior if we give up 5 gold, which if you don't know, giving up 5 gold for a warrior is incredible, or we can gain 30 influence. So, as I was saying, influence incredibly important for Benjamin Franklin. However, being able to get 1 warrior for 5 gold is basically free. So we're gonna pick that and get that warrior, right? So we have now unlocked pottery, which means that we are now able to choose a new technology. And as I said, going pottery into writing, pretty darn strong, especially if we're talking about Benjamin Franklin, who is a science civ for sure. And then with our scouts, we're going to go ahead and pick up our luxurious encampment, where we can gain 75 happiness towards the next celebration, or we can gain 15 production to Roma. So I'm going to go ahead and get 75 happiness because that will decrease the amount towards our next celebration by quite a bit. As you see, it went from 21 turns down to 10 turns. Very, very important there. And we have found a brand new civilization. We have found Charlemagne, who is of the Greek Empire. Let's go say hi. And we are going to go ahead and do the reveals capital of nearby leader. I can already see it, which is a little bit unfortunate. But as you can see, now we can actually do endeavors. We are all met upon the traveler's road. At least I hope so. All right, we're going to go say hi. But he's actually not close enough to his capital to reveal it either. All right, and now for our third growth of the city, I'm going to go ahead. Ooh, I guess I could do this. It's not going to give me gold, but it does give me more growth and happiness. I'm pretty okay with that. All right, let's go pick up this cairn. Beautiful. So we're actually going to be able to pick up plus 30 culture and plus 10 production to Rome. Look at that. Decreases down to 3 turns. And we also have met a new civilization. So we've met Xerxes, the king of Persia. Okay, so it's going to reveal his capital, but it will not reveal mine. So literally none of the people we have met so far have seen our capital, which is very, very nice. We're staying nice and hidden from the world. We have a diplomatic action. Charlemagne is requesting that you open borders to them. We get plus 2 gold per turn. Xerxes is asking for military aid. I can't even support it, so we're just going to go ahead and accept it, get another plus 2 gold per turn. Immediately we're up to 9 gold per turn, which is nice. And mysticism has been unlocked, which means we will be able to build our altar, and we will be able to unlock our pantheon. So the big question is, do we get the pantheon that we want? Now, we can choose a pantheon, and look at that, boys and girls. We can get the city patron goddess, which allows us to get plus 3 influence on the altar. And the reason that is so good is if we were to look at Benjamin Franklin, we can get plus 1 science per age from active endeavors that we have started or supported. And all of that takes influence. Then we can choose a civic. So obviously the next civic that we're going to go down is for discipline. So we can get our unique army commander. Yes, we can grow our city, guys. Let's go. So we obviously want to get a growth that will give us food. So we're going to go right there. Give us at least some food. We're going to choose a celebration. We should probably actually go with the plus 20% food for 10 turns so we can get growth in our city, because that is really hampering us right now. It feels like everyone else is growing a lot faster than us. So let's go ahead and get that. We're going to go ahead and go for actually +2 gold and then +1 production in there. And we'll take the culture out for right now. I don't think it's absolutely necessary for what we're looking to do. Okay, alright. Narrative choice. Okay, so a famous young poet composes a work about Roman history and pens a gory chapter about a necromantic witch. Some say such unholy topics are outside the bounds of taste, although his peers argue such details add thrills to the narrative. We can either say he should tone it down, +25 culture, or more gore, +50% happiness towards the next celebration. I think at this point, getting the happiness towards the celebration is going to be super important. Alright, the library is stocked and all citizens may read what they like. Well, to a point. Franklin has carefully curated what is available to match what his people need. We can do works that discuss nature and its uses by building a garden. We can do works of great speeches by forward thinkers by building a monument. Or we can do works by donors. I'm thinking we do build a garden, get that science a little bit later on. Okay, now we'll get the gold here. I feel like getting the support on this is going to be super nice. First of all, we get more science from it. Second of all, we get a lot more gold from it. Available technologies, we can do writing mastery, which don't really need. We will do irrigation. Oh, we can't do irrigation because we have to do animal husbandry first. So we'll do animal husbandry, which will allow us to get irrigation later. Okay, so now that we have done that, getting a settler out is the most important thing here. Okay, let's put an altar right here. That shall be our altar. With this settler, you're gonna move and put a city down right there. Now we need to get our army commander all the way over here as soon as we possibly can. Okay, so let's go with Code of Laws. This allows us to get +2 influence per turn. So right away, that is super impactful for us. We can actually get military strength, which honestly I'm totally okay with for right now. Gives us science and military strength. Let's go ahead and grow to get more food, I guess. The food is super important here. Not only that, but it also allows us to grow to more iron, which will give us better combat strength. Okay, so we have this guy stepped off of the independent city, so we're going to go ahead and disperse him, which will help us not have to deal with that. It gives us a massive culture bonus. Not only that, it also allows us to promote our guy here. We can take assault, which units can move after unpacking from this commander, which is super important, so we will be taking that. And then we have a narrative choice. So strength is best measured by the skill of use. Wisdom sharpens power's blade. So we gain +1 militaristic attributes. As you can see, we now have a militaristic attribute where we can do +5 combat strength against independent powers and city-states. We gain 1 free war support on all our wars. So we're going to go ahead and choose that. It just makes the most amount of sense. Now we can found settlement right where we wanted to in the first place. We have a narrative choice. We can get a +1 warrior. We can get a +1 migrant. Let's do a +1 warrior, and thankfully it popped it right into our capital, which is where we're going to need it. Okay, let's go ahead and grab that, which will allow us to change our resources, and we can put it right into the capital. Thankfully, giving us more food in the capital. It's huge. We have now gained irrigation, which makes me want to go towards bronze working so we can get our legion. Feels like we're going to be at war soon. Let's go ahead and build another settler. Honestly, we need to get a settler up here. Now Xerxes will not be able to come through this mountain pass. He'd have to come all the way south. And then we can probably post up some more troops right around here, and then we'd be fine. Wow, we just got annihilated when it comes to that. Let's go ahead and repair a farm. That flood did not do good things to me. Oh, of course, my warrior got damaged in that flood, which is not great news for me. It did really improve our water tiles here, though, which is nice. Okay, beautiful. Science. Let's go ahead and support that. Let's get a whole bunch of science going on in our civilization now. Let's go ahead and repair our fishing boats. With the gold that we have right now, actually, let's go ahead and build our warrior. I can actually purchase the altar. Beautiful. So now the altar is active, which will help us significantly. But apparently it gave us negative gold. I didn't even know it would allow you to go into negative gold, so that's news to me. Gosh, we'll do open borders. So he actually went down here. Very nice. We went over here, he went down here. We could probably put another city over here to kind of block him off, because 1, 2, 3. Put it on the fresh water, which will be nice. Okay, we can grow our town. Feels good. Let's grow it this way. So we have the culture bomb, got a diplomatic action, +3 per turn in towns for both leaders. Really need that. Although, you know what? I'll do it. We're gaining enough influence now, and that is giving us now science and food in a town, which is probably pretty valuable. All right, we can grow the town here. Good to know. Oh, I can gain even more military support. I'm not going to do that though, because I do want to start making friends with the money independent over here. So let's go ahead and befriend him. He is mad, but at the same time, we're going to be gaining a lot more influence than him. We've kind of cut Persia off here, as we've now claimed a whole bunch of lands that they would have loved to have claimed. All right, and with that, everybody, I will go ahead and end the first episode of our Benjamin Franklin playthrough. We are about 22% through the Antiquity Age. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, please let me know by subscribing and leaving a like. And since this is my first ever YouTube video, please go ahead and leave some feedback if you think that there's any way I can make this content better for you guys. Once again, we are going to be streaming both here on YouTube and on Twitch on launch day from 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys happen to watch the video in that time frame, go ahead and hop on over and say hello. We will be more than happy to have you guys join us. And hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you guys in the next one.